Hey everyone, so I'm late. I didn't do the December prediction video before December. It's already December 9th, and I have yet to do it, or I'm just now doing it. I've been pretty busy, been working a lot, doing a good amount of readings this month, and I've just been kind of worn out. And also working on my new classes as well that I'll be teaching for $20 a month. If you're interested in taking that, check out my Patreon. I'll post that below this video. Um, so, getting into it. For December, what immediately came to me was people having more pride in America. And I'm not sure if that's politically oriented with election or not, but that's just what was showing up. People having more faith in America. I'm seeing it being a lot less of like a volatile, like crazy situation like last month. It was just kind of chaotic. This month is much more calm, and there's a lot of practicality in the sense that people are going to be more practical in their everyday decisions and behaviors and actions. People will be much more thought out. Um, People will have plans that are much more thought out, less jumping to conclusions, and less of just spontaneous action. And I'm seeing that as a good thing. I don't think that spontaneous action would work very well within the month of December. There are times for that, but I'm seeing the overall general energy of December. Things should be very practical and thorough and thought out to be successful. Um, I'm getting the sense that there's a sense of optimism coming over people. People are much more optimistic this month than they have been, kind of coming up out of you know, all the crap, for lack of a better word. But with a sense of optimistic mindset, there's also a very balanced outlook. So it's not like people are being really overly optimistic and, seeing things better than they are. It's a very balanced form of optimism that's going on this month. So it's a good month for kind of making decisions, making long-term goals, things like that. I also see people making evaluations and learning from their mistakes. I think last month was kind of more about um, like tuning inwards and kind of finding yourself a little bit more than you may have in the past. And this month is kind of more about evaluating like how things have worked out for you. And the sense of optimism is really about learning from your mistakes and being practical about it, not being down about it, but like using that information, being optimistic with it. I'm seeing that not being a problem this month, and that seems to be the general energy of this month. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions. There's always going to be people who are experiencing something different. This is not to say that everyone will experience this exactly. This is just the overall generalized energy of the month. So very calm, steady, and lots of progress that could be made this month. I'm seeing a lot of people making long-term plans, progressing on a very individual, personal sort of way. Um, like on your in your personal life, your personal goals. Those are really good things to look at this month. There's a lot of calculated risk, but not very much risk involved, in the sense that there is a little bit of this like looking forward to the future and kind of betting a little bit, like being like, it looks like this is gonna happen probably, and I'm gonna plan for that. And so I'm saying there's a little bit of risk involved, but overall, it seems like most decisions people are making this month are very calculated and good decisions. Although, if there's a lot of risk involved, this is not a good month for you to go along with those plans. So, when I asked to see what is good for this month, what's good for this month is going down rabbit holes, so to speak. In other words, research, you know, finding something that's interesting and just kind of going with it and seeing how far you can go, um, finding new information, things that may have been too crazy, that now you can explore better because the mind is a little more balanced this month, and you can kind of interpret the information. You can integrate the information in a more balanced way that's not all kind of wishy-washy and crazy and chaotic like last month. So also what this month is good for is shedding light on bad situations from the past, like just negative things that you've been sitting in, negative energies, things that you don't want to look at, the negative side of life. And because there's a sense of optimism this month, it's a really good month to look at that stuff because the optimism will carry you through it and it won't crush you under its weight, if that makes sense. So it's a good month to explore the darkness, explore the darker side of life. Um, Being very steady this month is really important. And if you are steady and thorough and you keep pushing yourself and really staying on target is also crucial this month. You have to really stay on target. And as long as you're able to do those things, I'm saying that this month, if you follow through with those, you can create lots of prosperity in the future that comes from what you're building up this month to manifest in the near future. Um, Another thing about this month is ignored issues, like things that you would ignore, kind of sweep under the rug, so to speak. Those will be able to come to light. And I don't mean in the sense that secrets are being exposed, but what I mean is more so that things that you don't want to look at are going to be easier for you to look at and come to terms with. So this is a great month for internal work. Shadow work, I guess you could call it, is another, that's another way people say that. So what is this month bad for? December, rocky foundations, um, especially where there's a lot of risk involved and where you may be riding on the back of someone else or something else that's, you're not in control of it, in other words. So really being dependent on yourself is important this month. Being dependent on other people or things or companies or whatever you may be depending on, um, it's good to, you know, not create future plans that depend on something being the way that it is, because I don't know why, actually. That's just what was coming to me. So another thing that was coming to me that's bad for the month is being satisfied with inaction. In other words, just being happy sitting around doing nothing, like during the holiday season, just going to family and just sitting there and, you know, taking it in, but not really making anything of it. that could be a big mistake this month, because this month seems like a great month energetically for really building something new and really going somewhere with that in the future, and getting your your feet, getting your footing in place, building that foundation. So there's a lot of change coming up this month, it feels like, and it's a change from last month that was a lot chaotic, and there's a lot less chaos this month. It's like very calm, very steady, and pretty nice. There's a lot of change also going on in the world, and I would associate it with this awakening. I actually had a comment on one of my videos about how I don't see the bright future based off of the Great Reset video, and how um, it seems like there's a lot of trouble coming up ahead. And while I do see that, I also do think that things are improving drastically, because the consciousness, or the frequency of energy, I see it really going up, like starting to go up this month, and then the next couple months, January or going forward, it's going to be much higher than it is right now at the beginning of the month. Um, but there's going to be rockiness that comes with that. There's going to be resistance to that. And there are going to be specifically like politicians involved in creating conflict and blame and things like that, and trying to kind of bring things back to how they were, even though the consciousness of the earth, or the energy of the earth, is increasing, especially within this month going into next month, is the way that I'm seeing it. And this has a lot to do with the awakening going on around the world. Um, and so the Great Reset is kind of a combination of an awakening paired with these political forces that are trying to, control the awakening, if that makes sense, and manipulate it. But overall, this month, I see the energy being less of desperation, and I'm not saying this based off of what's going on politically. There may be some influence with that affecting the energy of the month. I'm just saying this is just the energy on the planet at the moment. Um, Although I do live in the United States, so I should say that most of this is applying mostly to the United States, although when I do readings, I'm not really necessarily looking at one country, but if it was to be one country, it would be the United States. But overall, within the whole world, I also see a lack of this desperation. Like, people have just been kind of desperate lately, and there's this level of acceptance, and whether that's acceptance of bad things or acceptance of where you're at in life, acceptance of just what you have to do to get through whatever you may be dealing with in your life, and that's kind of increasing the vibration of the earth, and having a lot to do with this practical, optimistic mindset that I'm reading here. So that's what I'm seeing for December. I just wanted to talk really quick about what I saw last month in November. And I mentioned something about how I saw something going on in Europe, and I saw the Queen of England's face pop up. Just wanted to address that really quick. So what did happen in Europe, actually specifically in France, after I made that reading, of course, was this whole thing where a student in school decapitated their school teacher on the street outside of the school because she drew an animated drawing of Muhammad, and this student was Muslim and took offense to the context that she drew it in, um, and it was kind of offensive to his perspective on his faith. I don't think that that's obviously not how all of Islam is going to react to something like that, but some people take very strong offense to those sorts of situations, and so that happened, and then the government of France projected that cartoon drawing onto one of their government buildings to send a signal to just everyone that it's free speech and that's okay in their country. And apparently, after that happened, there had been what's been called terrorist attacks, where they're isolated incidents, but there's been like a preacher minister who was shot randomly that was associated with that incident, and there have been some other situations with some Islamic radicalized individuals in France. I think there may have been like 3 deaths or something like that. So that was like a big kind of deal, but it wasn't a big deal. And it's kind of what I was reading for that, going on in Europe, how it would be a big deal, but it wouldn't be like, people would kind of freak out for a second, but it would be mostly calm and it wouldn't actually be that detrimental. And believe it or not, most people don't even know that that happened. So, So I think that's all I have to say. I'm going to go ahead and end this video so I don't take up too much time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you like it, and have a great day.